Hello and welcome to Alpha Academy. I hope you're doing well. Now imagine this for a moment. What if a scientist stood up today and told the entire world humanity will destroy itself because of its own population? Would you believe it? Back in 1968, when the world was living under the shadow of the Cold War, nuclear tension, and widespread hunger, one scientist said exactly that. His name was Paul Ehrlich, and his book was called The Population Bomb. Today, on social media, many people claim that Paul Ehrlich predicted that the world would end around 2026. But here's the real question. Did he actually say that? Or have we misunderstood his warning? Let's explore this story from the beginning, with facts, not hype, right here on Alpha Academy. Paul Ehrlich never wrote that the world would end in 2026. That claim is a later exaggeration. However, his warnings were extremely serious. In 1968, he argued that human population was growing so rapidly that the Earth would not be able to feed everyone. He predicted that during the 1970s and 80s, hundreds of millions of people would starve, countries would collapse, and social systems would break down. At that time, these fears were not unreasonable. The world population was only 3.5 billion. India and China were facing real famines. Farming methods were outdated and technology was limited. Ehrlich's model was simple. More people, limited resources equals disaster. He believed that countries like India would collapse first, that even the United States would not remain safe, and that governments would be forced to introduce strict population control laws. But then, something unexpected happened. In the 1970s, a factor Ehrlich failed to predict changed everything: human innovation, the Green Revolution. High-yield crops, chemical fertilizers, modern irrigation, and scientific farming dramatically increased food production. Countries that were expected to collapse became food exporters instead. The global population grew from 3.5 billion to 8 billion, yet a worldwide famine never occurred. This tells us something important. Paul Ehrlich's timeline was wrong, but his concern was real. Even today, the world faces serious challenges: climate change, water shortages, soil degradation, and unequal distribution of resources. Hunger today does not exist because there isn't enough food, but because systems failed to distribute it fairly. So the real question is the world ending in 2026? The answer is no. But if humanity continues to ignore natural limits, consume resources without restraint, and chase endless growth, a collapse is still possible. Not as a sudden explosion, but as a slow and gradual decline. Paul Ehrlich did not predict the future. He issued a warning. And the purpose of a warning is not to create fear, but to change decisions. That is the lesson Alpha Academy wants to share with you. Knowledge is not just information, it is responsibility. If you found this analysis valuable, please like the video, subscribe to Alpha Academy, and tell us in the comments, have we learned from history, or are we repeating it?